Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. So today, I can already tell the comments are gonna be like,
oh my god, Hannah, you're not wearing a hoodie.
Oh my god, your hair is not in a bun. What's happening? Is this really you?
What's really happening is, since I've been in quarantine, I'm just bored. So I decided to actually look nice today. First of all, how is everyone? I hope you all are doing okay. Second of all, we're on day 15, 16 over here in quarantine, and we're making it work. So I hope everybody else is doing okay, and I hope you guys are thriving. Today's video was actually one that I did a really long time ago. I did it back in October of 2018, and it was basically if all of my makeup was destroyed, what is the makeup that I would repurchase immediately? Like if there was like something happened that was just crazy and everything got taken, what would I rebuy? And I watched that video actually while I was getting ready today, because I was like, oh, I wonder what I picked back in 2018. And it's kind of funny how some of the things are the same, but then some things are like so different, like so different. So I have my little bag of goodies. I just went to the store, I rebought them because everything else was taken apparently. And yeah, we're just gonna do that and get started. I think this is kind of a fun challenge because it's not necessarily my like most favorite makeup of all time, but maybe like the stuff that I just use a lot, or the stuff that's more practical, or the stuff I use on an everyday basis, and things that I know work really well. Like that's kind of what I went with for this. So that's what we're doing. The first thing I have here is my Bobbi Brown face base. Ugh, I love this stuff, I have to say. I'm starting to run out of it, which makes me kind of scared, but when there was a time where the face base was like 100-point perk at Sephora, and they never have good perks. So I stocked up. I used like a ton of my points and bought like 5 or 6 of the little Bobbi Brown travel things so I could use them when I travel, number 1 and number 2, just so I could like have extra. I think I might just scrape them all into this and then I can start using them. This is definitely an expensive primer, I'm aware of that. The reason I picked this is because this is just the primer that I always will reach for. If there's a day where I need to just get ready very quickly and know that my makeup's gonna look good when I get ready, this is the primer that I reach for. It's very nourishing, it's very brightening, it makes my skin feel really good, it makes foundation look good on top of it. One thing about this, it doesn't necessarily hide every single flaw on your face like some primers do, more silicone primers, but I find this is really good for a very fresh-faced, like natural sort of look, more dewy, more glowy, which is kind of what I've been going for lately. I don't know if you can tell, but I've been going for a very like glowy, natural kind of look. And I think that this definitely provides that. And it's also so nourishing. It's like basically a moisturizer. It's so, oh, so nice. Feels like butter on your skin. I love it so much. So this is definitely the first thing that I would go out and rebuy if everything was gone. This is absolutely the primer I would need. Obviously you don't need anything, but you know what I mean. Foundation. So I actually was looking through my foundations, and this one was a little bit harder because I don't typically wear the same foundation every day. I don't have like a standard everyday routine when it comes to face products. I like to use a lot of different face products and try a lot of different things, and like depending on my skin, I know maybe one foundation will work better one day versus the other. So I kind of had to go with what universally always looks the best on me regardless of what kind of weird skin day I'm having, and that has to be the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. I believe this came out last year in 2019, and I have to say, like, this is such an impressive foundation. It's a medium coverage, but I think you could definitely build it up to be full coverage if you want it to be. It has a great shade range where I feel like it would be very easy to find different undertones that you might need, which I really appreciate. I also feel like the finish on this is just beautiful. You look basically face-tuned. I've posted pictures of myself unedited, which I don't really edit my pictures anyway, but like unedited, and people have always commented being like, your skin looks amazing. I love how your skin looks. And the thing I like about this the most too is I compare it with a lot of other products and it doesn't get messy. What I mean by that is I compare this with like any pressed powder, any loose powder, and it works with it. I compare this with any concealer and it works fine. Where I feel like some foundations you have to kind of use certain combinations because just whatever they're made up of doesn't mesh well with other things. I don't have to worry about that with this. I can mix this with anything else and it looks beautiful. And I also love the finish because I know they advertised it as more of a like glowy finish, but I don't think it's super glowy. I think it's more just like a sheen. Like you can definitely mattify it a little bit, but you can also definitely let it like glow a little bit more too. It's not ultra dewy or ultra matte. It's a very nice medium, which I really like. I also use this for my Midas Cosmetics campaign shoot, and I loved how those pictures turned out. I thought my skin looked so pretty in those pictures. So that's like why I always go for this one now too, because I know it photographs really pretty too. Next, okay, this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer. I feel like I've bragged about this in videos like recently, so I won't harp on this too much, but I will say this is such a good concealer. I wish more people like knew about this and hyped this up because it is such a good concealer. It has, the best way I could describe this concealer is by the texture, because the texture is so fantastic. It's not too cakey where it's like Tarte Shape Tape where you can feel the cake as you're putting it on, but it's also not too watery. Like I feel like there's certain concealers that you put on and you're like, this is too thin, this isn't gonna have a good amount of coverage. This is a perfect medium coverage that I adore. I think it looks so, so good. I have very crinkly under eyes. My under eyes are so problematic. Like they are gonna have tea videos made about them one day. It's ridiculous. However, I think that this particular concealer doesn't it doesn't settle into my crinkles. It doesn't get super, super up in there. It just kind of lays over them very nicely. I also have very dark circles under my eyes from years of not sleeping and insomnia and anxiety. So I have a lot of dark circles under my eyes, and I find that this really helps cover them while not being too caked face, if that makes sense. I feel like it's interesting because the last time I did this video, I was very much like into full coverage, full glam, full beat, and now I'm definitely more of a like, I like a little bit more medium coverage. I like things really glowy. I don't really want everything to be matte. Like I want glow, okay? So I think it's kind of funny looking back at like how preferences change. Next, powder. I had to go with my Fenty Beauty loose powder. This is in the shade Butter. This is my absolute favorite powder of all time. Like I've never used a powder that I've loved as much as this one. I used to love the Too Faced Peach Perfect powder, but I used it the other day and I was like, I actually don't like this. I find it to be a little bit drying. Like I'm not gonna lie. I think I liked it at the time because I was doing full coverage, full cake, but it doesn't work as well with a more medium coverage look that I've been going for. This works wonderfully. I have used this I used it today. It looks so stunning on the skin. It makes my skin look blurred while still having kind of like, you can actually see skin. It doesn't just look like plastic, which I really like. Also, again, with my under eyes being a little problematic, I can set this on my under eyes and it will just blur, fill in those crinkles and kind of like veil them and make them not look as prominent. It's a beautiful thing. This powder is amazing. I actually don't typically use pressed powders all over my face just because it's kind of messy, but I will always use this all over my face because I think it works so, so well. The one thing I will say about this is if you like baking, I don't think this would be a good baking powder. It's definitely not meant for baking. It's meant for kind of just like setting things in place. It's not meant to like cake on, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a more like finely milled texture. If you wanted something for baking, I would recommend, there's a few good ones. The Anastasia Beverly Hills powder is really good, but so is the Maybelline Fit Me. They're kind of a similar texture. The Maybelline Fit Me one's obviously a lot cheaper. So if you did want like a thicker texture, I would recommend the Maybelline Fit Me, but if you want something a little bit more light, just kind of set it down, your makeup's not gonna move, but it's also not like indestructible, it would be this one. I think it's great. Contour, ugh. I hate it. I hate that this has been my favorite contour product for so long, but I just love this product. I used to use it as more of a bronzer, and lately I've definitely been using it as more of a contour. This is the Chanel Cream Bronzer. You can see I use it a lot. I will say, this was expensive. I believe it was like $50, which for a bronzer is definitely a lot of money. For anything, that's a lot of money. I've had this for a very, very, very long time, and I use it a lot, and I've made it like a dent, but like it's not gone yet. Like she's still holding on. I still have a lot more product left. This will probably go bad before I'm able to actually finish using it, despite using it constantly. This is one of those products that I just use pretty much every day, regardless of what kind of makeup look I'm doing. It's always on my face, probably. It's just kind of an essential step for me. Found recently that I used to love doing a more kind of like harsh contour and then bronzing over the top of that. And I've just found that I don't really love how that looks anymore. I think it looks a little too intense for me. And so I've been using this as sort of my like contour, and I just go in and kind of bronze everything up and get everything like where I want it. And then I put an actual bronzer on top of it to like really solidify it. And I think that works really well. So I kind of use this to carve, and then I use a bronzer to just kind of like brighten everything up and, well, I guess deepen things, but you know what I mean. But I love this. This is definitely something that I would have to rebuy. It's just something I use literally every day. So it's like an essential part of my makeup routine. Now, speaking of that, for for actual bronzers, this one was kind of hard because I really like a lot of different bronzers and I'm not even sure that I'm fully confident in this decision, but this is definitely the bronzer that I reach for the most. For sure. Like, this is the one that I always like to reach for and I really like. And also, if you had told me a couple years ago that this would be the bronzer I'd pick, I probably would not have believed you, only because at the time I was boycotting this brand because of their horrible return policy. Now they're available at Ulta and I've been buying them again, and that is Kylie Cosmetics. This is the Kylie bronzer in Almond. I low-key, her powder products are so good. Like, her highlighters, the highlighters, the blushes, and the bronzers are so good. I've never been a fan of her eyeshadow palette formula, and I used to be a big fan of the lip kits, but I'm not so much anymore because I find them to be very drying. I think they were good for me when I was first starting out, but like, they just don't work anymore. However, these types of powder products are so good from her. Her blushes, her bronzers, and the highlighters are fantastic. Particularly this bronzer is just one that I use all the time. I find it to be a really nice shade. It's a very, like, it's neutral. It's not too orangey. It's not too kind of cool tonedy, because sometimes bronzers can be really cool toned and I hate how that looks. I'm unpopular opinion. I would rather have an orange bronzer than like a cool toned bronzer, but I think this is a perfect mix between orangey and cool tony. And honestly, the price point on this is really good. This is like $18, which I think is fantastic considering how good this is. You do get a decent amount of product, and I've actually just been reaching for this like every single day. The packaging's really compact. I traveled with this when I went to Europe. Like, I always bring this with me. This is a really good bronzer. I never thought I would say that, but like, just practicality wise, if I ran out of all my bronzers, this is probably the one I would go get first for sure. Okay, I had to go with this one. Here's the thing. I love blush lately. I've just been a little e-girl, like loving my blush. I think blush is so fun. I was looking through my blush drawer and I was like, weirdly enough, this is kind of difficult because I love a lot of these blushes that I have right now, especially since I just decluttered. So I really have like a curated collection that I'm like, oh, I love every single one of these. However, if we're talking about like what I would realistically want to go out and buy and like what I would miss the most, it's definitely the Jouer blush palette. Obviously, MAC Peaches is like one of my all-time favorites, along with there's like a couple others that I just, my Hourglass one, like I really love those. But I'm thinking like practically I would want a variety of blushes for sure. This is something that would provide me that. This is so pretty. I love, love, love this formula. One of my favorite blush formulas, honestly, is these Jouer blushes. I think they're so pretty. I love that it has more neutral shades, more pinky shades, and then kind of like a purpley shade, because I think just across the board, my cast is so bad, I'm so sorry. I think just like across the board, this is gonna look really, really stunning on a lot of different people for a lot of different vibes. You also have this fun little orange color, which I don't typically use. There's a plane. So weird living next to an airport and like barely hearing planes anymore. I never hear them anymore, and it's so weird. You also have this little orange blush, which granted, I don't use this orange blush out of all of these colors. This is the one I really don't reach for. But if I was, you know, had no other makeup, I probably would use this a lot more. I think also if you're a beginner, this is a really good blush kit because it's very buildable. It's not too much pigment right off the bat where you have to like incessantly blend it out or make sure you tap off your brush. It's easy to use. You can just pop this on and look really cute and blushy, and I really like it. So this is definitely, also the packaging is just so my aesthetic. I love the like little rose, like the gold with the, it's just, Jouer really has my aesthetic as a brand. They are so cute. Next would have to be brows. And I kind of, so with my brows, it's kind of like a multi-step process. I don't just do like one product for my brows. So I picked a brow pencil and a brow gel that I would most likely rebuy together to use every day for my brows. And the first thing would definitely be the Fenty Beauty brow pencil. I've just loved this. I was an Anastasia girl for a really long time with my brows. That's like all I ever wanted to use. And I have to say this kind of changed the game for me. First of all, I love the little spoolie. It's not a real spoolie. It's almost like a little toothbrush. Like, it's so cute. And I find, at first I was like, what is this? But then I used it and I find that it actually gets all of the hairs up really nicely, and it's a lot easier to shape than with a spoolie. It just, and also you don't get those, if you have a lot of foundation on, you know how sometimes you can spoolie and you'll get little spoolie marks by your brows? Is that just a me problem? Am I just doing brows wrong? I don't know, but I always get those little spoolie marks, and that kind of, this kind of eliminates that. I also think the product as a whole is beautiful. The formula is so nice, easy to blend. It's really hard to screw up your brows when you use this product because it's not hyper pigmented. So even if I have like a little line that's off, it's really easy to kind of correct that super easy, as opposed to other brow pencils where if I screw it up, it's like, well, we're just screwed for today. So this is definitely what I would go with. I love that brow pencil. I'm in the shade medium brown, if anybody wants to know. That's the shade, and I find that works really well for me. The brow gel I would rebuy is the Glossier Boy Brow. I am in the shade brown. Shocking no one. I really love this brow gel. It's so good. It's just, I kind of crap talked Glossier a little bit because I didn't get it. I didn't get their vibe. I was like, okay, so they're like makeup but no makeup, but it's $500. Like, that sounds dumb. However, now I'm a little bit eating my words because I've tried a few of their things. I still think the cloud paints are stupid. I'm so sorry to people who love them. I don't like them. However, I do love the Boy Brow. I think it's fantastic. And I also love their clear lip gloss. It's so beautiful. This gel is great because you don't have to use a brow pencil, basically. You don't have to do anything, honestly. You can just throw this in your brows and be done. And I do have a couple other brow gels like that. This one's just the best in my opinion. The actual little bristle of the brush is super, super, super tiny. Crazy small. Yeah, super small, super fine. I just saw like a quarantine gender reveal. Everyone was driving around with pink balloons on their cars and honking. Oh my God, that was so cute. I hope that's what it was. Oh, that was so cute. Oh, I loved that. Okay. In my neighborhood, you never know if it's gonna be something cute or if it's gonna be like a brawl. So I'm glad that was like an adorable thing I just saw. Anyway, I love this. I think it's great. A dupeable thing would definitely be the ColourPop brow gel. I do think this is a little bit more pigmented and I think the brush is a little bit better, but I think it's not a super noticeable difference. We're talking like if I had to rebuy it, this is what I would rebuy, but I also think you could just get the ColourPop gel and it would be just as good. This one was hard. Eyeshadow palettes was really hard. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and honestly I use them as like based on my mood. My favorite one is typically based on my mood. My favorite palette of all time definitely used to be the Queen of Hearts palette, and while I think that is still kind of one of my favorite palettes, the Queen of Hearts one, I also kind of feel like I wouldn't rebuy that immediately, and that's only because, I know this might sound dumb, but I've used it so much that I feel like I'm almost a little bit, not over it, but I just haven't reached for it in a while because I went through a phase where I used it literally every day. And it's still, in my opinion, one of the best quality eyeshadow palettes I own. However, I had to think of a palette that I would rebuy that I use a lot, I get a lot of use out of, I really love, one that's a little bit more versatile, and I really ultimately decided to pick the Sultry palette from Anastasia. I love this palette. I would rebuy this. This took me a while to deliberate on, but I really think I would rebuy this one. It is so pretty. The shimmers in here, I've talked about them before. I'm a shimmer girl. Like, let's just be real about it. I love a good shimmer. A shimmer can change an entire palette for me. Like, I love glitter and shimmer and shine. It's my favorite thing. So a glitter is like really important to me. These glitters are just unreal. They're so, so pretty. They're gorgeous. Like, I absolutely love how every single one of these shimmers performs on the eyes. I think they are so unique and beautiful. In my opinion, this is one of the best formulated ABH palettes, only in comparison to the Jackie Aina palette, but I think color story wise, this one would fit me a little bit more for like the purpose of this challenge. I also think it has a decent variety of mattes. So obviously a lot of my looks would be kind of neutral, but I think the shimmers would be able to like spice it up. I also think it's fun. You have this kind of bright pink because you could do something kind of fun one day. If I wanted to do something sassy, something not so neutral, I could use this. I also think it would be really good for brightening up the lower lash line with like a really neutral look on top. I should do that. Oh my God, that would be so pretty. I also, I don't really use the shade Birch as it stands right now in the palette, but I think for like a more neutral look, you could do like Fresh, Birch, and then Dystopian, and then like a pearl shade on the top. It would just be a little bit more warm toned look. Obviously this is more cool toned, but I think it's cool. You could pull some warmer toned looks out of it. And overall, I love every single shade in this palette. I think it's so pretty. This is definitely the one that I would have to go rebuy for sure. I also love the packaging. Obviously. I mean, I think it's so pretty. Confident in this decision, I feel like. This is definitely the one. She's the girl. Not necessarily my ultimate like favorite eyeshadow palette, but if I were to lose everything, I would miss her the most, I think. Sorry, all my other eyeshadow palettes in the back listening to me talk them, but. Okay, as far as mascara goes, Essence Lash Princess in the mint green. Forever one of my favorite mascaras. It's so good. I just feel like it works. Like I kind of use different mascaras. Like today I'm wearing the Fenty one and I like it. I go through other mascaras, but I always have an Essence Lash Princess on hand. And I think partly because it's cheap, It's like $3. We love that. And also partly because it just works. I can count on it. I can depend on it. I know it's a good mascara. It separates my lashes really beautifully. It gives length and volume, which I really like in a good mascara. I don't wear false lashes, so it's kind of important, especially since I'm on camera a lot, to find a mascara that actually does something to my lashes and shows a difference. And I feel like this definitely does that. I love, and it's so cheap. This is really good. I know some people like don't like this. I don't know why, because my mom doesn't like this particular mascara, but I think it's freaking awesome. Marc Jacobs Gel Liner. I've talked about it in like every video I've ever done a favorites video on. I can't help it. It's the only, this is actually a new one. We upgraded. I was using a mini for a long time because they last forever. I know this is a hefty price to pay for a eyeliner. Like, I get it, but I have such problematic under eyes that just reject any other kind of eyeliner, that this is the only one that's ever really worked for me. I've even tried other like gel eyeliners because a lot of people were like, well, maybe you should try cheaper alternatives to gels. None of them have stayed on the same way that this one does. I kind of had to stop talking about this on my channel because I felt like I was just constantly like, it's so good. But it is, it's really good. It's truly my favorite product. Yeah, definitely my favorite product. Probably my longest running product. Like the product I've had the longest running love with is this product. I've loved this product ever since the first time I tried it. I think we're going on 3 years together and we've gone strong. I can't see a day where I ever stop using the Marc Jacobs Gel Liner to do my lower lash line. Hey, I would absolutely rebuy my Fenty Uncuffed lipstick. This is literally my favorite liquid lipstick. It's my go-to neutral lipstick. It's so pretty. It goes so well with so many different looks. I find I compare this with a really colorful look and it looks great. I find I compare this with like a not so color, a neutral look. It looks fine. I like the wand. The only thing I don't love, even though the bottle is obviously very pretty, I don't love the bottle for storing purposes. It's just kind of annoying to store. However, it's not the end of the world. I would like to get more colors in this formula because I actually think the formula is awesome. It's not super drying. It's dry enough that it doesn't transfer, which is really all you can ask for in a liquid lipstick. I think this formula is so good, so pretty. The color is great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And also, if I were to rebuy things, like if I lost all my lip glosses, which there was a lot, I would definitely rebuy the Clarins lip oil first. These are just my tried and true favorites. These are the kind of the oils that got me back into liking lip gloss. I didn't love lip gloss when I was growing up because I have really small lips and I always felt like lip gloss made my lips look smaller. Like they just never had that desired effect that I saw other girls had when they wore lip gloss. And my lips never looked like that. I thought they always looked really tiny and they just looked like kind of gross. But I feel like this showed me that there are ways that you can look really pretty with small lips while wearing a lip gloss. And it made me feel more confident to wear different types of lip glosses. This lip oil is so, so good. I've actually bought, I think I have almost all the colors now. Bought so many of these. They initially sent me this one and then they sent me another one. And then I bought a couple more because I just love how these look. And also they come in kind of fun colors. You would think this is gonna be like an actual neon orange on the lips, but it's really not. It's kind of a nice, it has a tint of orange to it, but it's more of a tint of orange instead of like ultra bright neon orange. You know what I mean? Kind of like, oh, it would go really well with this actually. Finally, highlighter. This was hard. I love highlighters. I have so many. I love them all so much. I truly love my highlighter collection. I think it's so great. And I use all of them a lot, like they get use. However, if I had to pick like practically what I would go out and rebuy along with the best formula I know of, it has to be the Give Me Glow 9-pan palette. This thing is expensive. Like it's definitely an investment. However, the pans are, I'm sorry, this is the size of my face. Like the pans are so huge. And the formula, let's do White Rose. Shout out to Spooky Lips and Fat Hips because she's the reason I bought this. But like, look at how glowy, metallic, stunning, like look at how stunning these are. Like absolutely, truly, and wholly so reflective, stunning, and beautiful. I love these highlighters. The Give Me Glow highlighter formula is just one of my absolute favorites. And the thing I like about these two is, yes, obviously because I just swatched them, they're like overwhelmingly crazy, but I think you can also kind of mute these down a little bit. If you shake off your brush really well, if you only apply apply a little bit, they can actually provide a really cute, like subtle kind of glowy look. But nothing illuminates my cheeks better than this palette. Like this palette is so freaking good. This is everything. I know it's expensive, and I also know it's always out of stock. I randomly got it one time when it happened to be in stock when I checked. So if you really do want this, I would consider just checking the website or maybe emailing them and asking them. But I will say this is my absolute go-to. It's so good. Like, I haven't really tried anything else from Give Me Glow other than the highlighters, but like unreal to me. Like next level stunning when it comes to highlighters. I really love them. So that's it for me, you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. Let me know what you guys would rebuy if you lost all of your makeup. Like, what would you get first? What's the things that you would rebuy first? I would love to know. Yeah. And let me know what you think of my picks. If you guys agree with them, disagree with them. If you've been with the channel for a while, did you see the original video? What do you think now? And yeah, I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below. I'll also link this top because a lot of you guys ask about like shirts that I wear. I'll link this down below too, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link, you can register to vote, and you can be part of your democracy. It's a super fun thing to do. And on top of that, please make sure you're staying 6 feet apart. Make sure you're social distancing if you can, and make sure you're washing your hands because we absolutely need that too. I hope everybody is staying strong and doing okay. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!